Oh yeah, we back. It must be Wednesday. You know, the best part about doing podcasts on a Wednesday, especially when you enjoy doing what it is you do on a Wednesday, it lets you know that half the week is over.
That's true. We got us a middle way, something to gauge it by. Huh?
Absolutely. So, now we know half, and the best part about that is not only is half the week over, more than half the week over, because we're already done with the workday. So having our podcast on Wednesday nights is just for you, but most importantly, it's for us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us tonight. It won't be just us two. I believe a few more people are going to be joining us, but tonight we're talking about today's environment. Last couple of weeks, excuse me, I got choked up. The last couple of weeks we've been talking about some of the things that's going on. Help me remember, Ace. I know we talked about Kanye West. I know we talked about, now we got this Kyrie Irving situation going on.
Kyrie is new. We talked about the upcoming voting. We need to be, I hope everybody voted.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on today in today's environment. Here we are in 2022, and I wonder, like, we're in our mid 40s, right? Early mid 40s. When we look at our mid 40s, when we look at our 40s, I mean, we look at our lifetime. We go back 20, 30 years ago. I'm sure you can remember the 80s. I'm sure you can remember the 90s, of course, and anything after that. And we judge everything based off what we have lived through and what we can remember. But our parents and our grandparents can go back even further, and they may even see a time that they thought was even better than this. So that's some of the stuff that I would like to talk about today, because we're in a completely different time today. I mean, completely different from when we were children. And I just don't know if it's better or worse. So today's environment is what I want to talk about. How's your week going, Ace?
It's going pretty good. To all my listeners out there in my industry, can you give us some referrals, please? Other than that, it's great.
Hospices for referrals. Speaking of which, that's my parents, your dad and I are here. Thank you, Mom and Daddy, for watching us tonight. So tonight we're talking about today's environment. And, it's so much going on in today's environment that you just wonder if it's for the better or if it's for the worse. One of those things that I, kind of think about is like relationships. Let's start off with this and let's end with relationships. Are relationships in decline? And I'm talking about a whole gamut of relationships. I'm talking about husband and wife. I'm talking about the relationship of parents to their children. And I'm also talking about the relationships of people just in general. I don't know exactly what this is in reference to. It's coming. It's for those of you who are watching, it's an inside joke. All right. But Ace, what do you think? Are relationships in decline? Are we in trouble with relationships?
Let's talk about all of them. So first, the overall general answer is yes. It's a scary climate. I think partly in fact is all today's expectations are ridiculous. Like they mostly like non-reality. So the culture now, we're living in a cheat culture. So the culture now is cheating is kind of like when you look with social media, what they're pushing stuff like that, it's like it's cool to cheat on your partner and then your partner fights over you and y'all stay together. And it's cool to cheat on your partner, you act the fool, you stay together. I guess what's the word? Toxic. Everything is toxic nowadays. And it's like that's what people want.
Well, all right. So you talking more of the relationships between a man and a woman, I presume, or romantic relationships.
Well, nowadays, between two people.
Absolutely.
That have found love with each other.
I say, okay, now my thought process was more along the line, and I say this all the time, both on here and other places, but when I think about relationships, I always think about how people had to hitch up the horse and wagon, and they had to put forth effort to go across the city or the state, whatever, and took days travels to get to where they had to, have food all bundled up and all these things. So that's what I think about when I think about that kind of relationship. I think it's in decline because I look at today's technology. I've said this for years. All right, I'm about to say something very controversial. Disclaimer. I've said this for years. The decline, or what's going to eliminate the world, is one of two things. Number one, I say it's going to be technology, and the controversial one is number two. I say the gay thing. I hate to say it. I almost stuttered when I said it. The gay thing.
There goes
I feel like those are the two issues that we're going to have. Don't get me wrong. I'm not against anybody. I don't want anybody to think that I'm trying to bash any kind of culture, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Hey, those to me my are Nike two contract. That's it.
Oh yeah, your Nike contract. Yeah, you might have to get you a deal with Kanye. But those are the things. And so anyway, getting back to what I was saying originally, packing up your stuff, going across town, seeing people, that has been eliminated. People are not seeing and loving on their people like they are because of the technology that we have, right? And the other side of it, because now people are texting. People don't even want to pick up the phone and call. I had a friend of mine named Tasha Thomas, by the way. I called her the other day, Ace. She said, hey, aren't you supposed to text me before you call? That's what we getting to. I got a text before I call now. It used to be you got to call before you show up. Now I got a text before I call. So man, I don't know, man. I think the relationships are just in decline.
Well, people, we're getting it's kind of like an irony. So technology has made the world smaller, but at the same time, it has drawn people further apart. Like you said. So basically, what you explained, that's like courting. I'm gonna go over here and see this person. I'm gonna talk to this person, do this. Nobody's courting anymore. It's at the click of a button. I have a few friends I'm not gonna name, but they're single and they don't date anymore. They literally, I guess we're all grown folks here. Whenever they feel like they want sex, they literally go to the computer on a dating site and like the next day meet somebody, and sometimes that same day meet somebody or the next day and they're having sex. It's like there is no, people are getting further apart.
Kick a shout out to everybody listening. Tony and Deborah Goodson, thank you very much.
What's up, Anthony?
Mar Anthony Ho, what's up, man? He said there's no more family Sunday dinners. You know what though?
True.
That's like very pivotal to the makeup of what family is, right? There's no
more.
Oh
yeah, definitely.
He said Sunday dinners. And I'm even going to say, I understand that the world is different, but I'm going to say, when I was a kid, I think I had dinner with the family every day, not just Sunday.
I don't get every, but at least 3 or 4 nights out the week. And that's a big deal. I actually learned that from Mr. Cosby a long time ago when I was young. But we sit at the table together, we converse, we talk about each other's day. No electronics allowed, no phone, no headphones. It's us. We focused on each other for that time. That time is cut out to care about one another, so we can know what's going on in each other's life, what's going on in each other's day, how you feeling, how you thinking about this. Anything needs to be talked about. And if you ain't got nothing else to talk about, just stir at each other and chew your food.
Yeah, thank you for that comment, Mar Anthony. Hey, y'all, keep them coming. I'd like to know what y'all think about it too. Are we in decline in our relationship today? Another thing you think about, so our parents, of course, would understand this a whole lot more. My mom, it's like 40 of them. There's a lot of brothers and sisters. My daddy is 4 of them. He got 3 brothers. And then, your parents, your dad is how many of them?
13 with my dad and 9 on my mom's side.
You see, so that day is gone too. You have 3 kids, and 3 is a lot. I have 1. 1 is typical. 1 to 2 is very typical. I had the conversation. It's kind of a 2-part conversation. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and she said it's very funny how the Black community was 15% or so way back when slavery ended, and we're still sitting at 15%. We're not growing any. And I wonder if maybe the 60s we did that, and then all of a sudden we had too many kids in the 50s, 60s, 40s, whatever, having 20, 30 kids, and eliminated that. Why is it a selfish reason why we're not having as many kids?
I think it's a mixture of all factors. So when we talk about that, we got to talk about all the factors. So we can relate it to the prison system. Look at the representation we have in the prison system. We're the majority. We're the the smallest population, but we're the majority represented. So you got to think about all those brothers and sisters in prison. They're not reproducing. Some of them to prison before they ever reproduce. You know, the people that have been 15, 16, you know, starting in juvenile and transferred over. People that went to the penitentiary at 17, 18. You know, all of that, you know, all of that factors in.
Statistic I heard the other day: 5% of America makes up 5% of this globe we call Earth. 5%. 95% is all the rest of the globe, but we make up 5%. However, we make up 25% of the prison population. Very interesting fact.
That's real. And then I think the other factors that you look at is the change in the culture. It's not any love anymore. You know, it's no love anymore. You know, now it's wham bam, thank you, ma'am, take a plan B. You know, or you know, definitely women's rights, but you know, you have to factor in abortion. You know, it's so many things. You can factor in drug usage, and people can't have kids.
Well, I'm sure that's a low population for that. I think it's a very intentional thing. You know, when I look at it, I mean, one thing you didn't factor in is finances. You know, it's way more expensive today. Of course, we're talking the last 2 years since COVID and all that, but it's way more expensive. It has been for the last 20 years compared to what it costs to raise kids in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
You know? So, talking about today's environment, our relationships in decline, all relationships. Y'all let us know. Phone number 8173. No, I'm just making that up. All right. So
what about friendship relationships? You know, just some, you know, mutual friendship between people, whether it's male, female, male, male, female, female.
You know what, Ace? Great question. You know why? Social media makes friendships fake.
Definitely.
Social, and don't get me wrong, I think most people have a core group of friends, or maybe they have one or two friends that's their go-to friend. Like me and you, like me and Ace, like you and Sid and so forth. Okay. But me and Eric, I meant. But there's I think that we think we have friends. Oh, I got 1,800 Facebook friends. And that's not your friends. That's a term you probably shouldn't even really use. I got 1,800 Facebook acquaintances, followers, and all that. Anyway, we're gonna bring in Ron James, my main man. We're gonna see what he has to say about this. Y'all be sure to tell us what y'all think about it as well. Ron James, today we're talking about today's environment. Welcome to the show. How do you do, sir?
Oh man, just maintaining, man.
What's happening with you?
Just being real. What's up, brother? How are you, man? Nice to see you.
So today we're talking about today's environment and our relationships in decline right now. You know, all relationships. I mean, so now we're trying to break down a couple of relationships that we don't see that are the same as what they used to be. So are they in decline? We started off with, you know, literal like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife relationships. Then we moved on to friendships, relationships with your family. Now we're in like deep friendships. Are they in decline? My statement was, you know, I think because social media, people think they have friends that they really don't have. You know, people have an audience more than anything else that they can say whatever they want to say. But anyway, speak to it. How do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, man. People are very sensitive nowadays, man. It's just not like how it was. Even those deep relationships that you think you have, it's just different, you know. I don't know what it is, man, and it's just the verbiage, you know, the things that people say. They take it so much out of context, and it may not be your intentions, but it's your impact that affects the relationship. And I'm going to give you an example. Me and my boys, man, one of my boys I knew since Prairie View. I knew him since Prairie View, and we were talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Everyone knows I'm an avid Dallas Cowboy hater, right? So, I'm a New York Giants fan, being from New York. And, you know, when I talk, sometimes I embellish a little bit just to make sure you get the point. I'm here to win,
Understood.
Right? But you know that's me, right? This certain person took it to heart, and he unfriended me. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. And it's like a dude that I knew. So I don't know.
You done gone too far now, Ron. You done did it.
What happened?
Okay. Well, you know what? Football gets serious down here in Texas. So maybe I'm assuming it feels about the Cowboys. That's what it is. Let's go to the Facebook users there. Deborah Goodson, she says, I think now Black women are being educated and just do not want a lot of children. That is one of the declines of the Black family. I believe that love is still there. Okay, so you know what, I think that she's talking about. I said earlier, Ron, that I think my mom. She had several brothers and sisters, multiple.
Right.
Ace's dad had multiple. His mom had multiple. Then there's us, and we only have a couple. For example, you're our age. So how many siblings do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Oh wow, see that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Assuming they're all by the same parents, that's a lot. But that's certainly on the decline right there. And I think that that's another thing that we see, because now all of a sudden family time is not the same. Family time with me and my household, at least before I got married, was me and my daughter. And now it's me and my wife. So it's not a whole lot of us around like it would be when my mom and dad and y'all's mom and dad was around. As kids. So, I think that that's a big change right there that we haven't seen. But anyway, moving along. So I wrote a list of things that I would like to talk about tonight, y'all. And of course, they're all in regards to today's environment. One of them being, name one thing we used to do that we need to start back doing.
Oh, close your ears, Mr. Goodson. Ass whoopings. Number one. Absolutely number one. I say I hope I don't get a lot of hate. I hope I don't get jumped in the grocery store. But I tell you what, I won't give my area of town that I live in. These kids out here is horrible.
Peter Hill.
I mean, we have some great kids here doing some great things, but I mean the other ones are they're not bad, they're not mischievous. These kids are horrible. And it's a direct correlation you can see from the upbringing, from the parenting. They're not afraid of their mother. Hey, I'm gonna call your parents. Hey, I'm gonna tell your daddy. They're not afraid at all. Like, they can give a care less about it. We need to bring that back. I mean, physically putting hands on folks, and not with the intent of necessarily hurting, but I learned when I was when I was pledging, I learned that pain is the stimulus of motivation. And that's a true statement.
Let's go to the comment, and I'll let you finish, Ace. It says, Deborah Goodson, I'm sure church, nobody is going to church. Actually, I was going to make that comment. We need to start normalizing going back to church, and fathers need to be the ones leading that. Taking their families to church. And then I get into it. Anyway, Ron, I'll let you go ahead.
I don't know, like Friday night gatherings. I don't know if you guys ever did it, but we used to do it all the time in Brooklyn. Mom, pops, they used to have people over, play spades, cards, and all that type of stuff. It was just a fellowshipping type event. We need that back, man. Need that love back. Just sit down and enjoy your people without social media. With all these exterior type crap, just get them back into one environment.
Is that possible now, Ron? You think people can do that?
Can they do it?
Yeah, you think people can do? Because I love what you're saying, because that's the environment I come from. But right. Like, you think they can put the phones down, just enjoy each other for a second?
I think it can be done. It'll be hard, but yeah, I mean, because like there's this book by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm sure you all have heard of it, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he kind of talks about this game that he actually created that teaches kids about finances, right? And I was going to purchase that book and try it. So I'll have the answer for you within a month or two for my daughter, because we're going to try to do that during Christmas time, But can we get it done? Yes. It's just you setting down some time, turning Facebook off, Instagram off, and whatever else, TikTok especially, right? And just trying to put that enjoyment back in the family structure. It can happen. It's just that, can we do it? It's going to be hard for a lot of people, but you can do it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I love New York, says Tony Goodson. Yes, he does. Let me tell y'all, my daddy, that's my daddy, by the way, Ron.
Oh,
did not want to go. He retired.
I hear so much about Pops, man. I got to go check him out, man. I got to go see him.
For those who don't know, Ron is my workout partner. Yeah. So my daddy, he retired about 8 years ago, Ron. Didn't want to do nothing. We were talking about taking trips. He had a bad attitude the whole time. I don't want to take no trips. I don't want to go to New York. I ain't never wanted to go to New York. Never. I don't even what's in New York. New York horrible. He talked so bad about New York. I guess he thought about the muggings in the 80s and the image of the 80s. Right. Finally, and I'd been there before, a couple times perhaps. So me, my dad, my mom go for their retirement. She had just retired as well, like maybe 2 months before he did. We go to New York City and we're sitting on Times Square. He calling up people from his job that he used to work at. Hey, what you doing? Nothing. I'm just sitting here. I'm New York on Times Square. Yeah. I just want to holler at you. Look, I didn't even know my daddy had that many people in his Rolodex. You know what I'm saying? He called 50 people in his cell phone. Hey, what's up, Jimmy? What you doing? Nothing. You hanging out on Times Square. And look, he talked about it for 2 years. My mama will probably beg to differ. But for 2 to 10 years afterwards, because he loved it that much.
Right.
But anyway, my bad. I digress.
No. That's dope, though. That's dope, man. Yo, Pops, I'm going to come check you out, man. You got a great son here, for real.
Hey, man, likewise. Look here. There's a term, getting back to our subject, called marasmus. And you're talking about Friday nights, and we're talking about relationships with people.
What's
so
the
there's
term
a term
again?
called marasmus. Hear it out.
Spell it on the screen for everybody. Spell it on the screen for everybody.
They're gonna have to just hear it. So, because I don't know how. So marasmus is when you get monkeys, right? And you have these baby monkeys, and you don't touch them. And so what you do is you kind of, you feed them, you do everything to them that you can, but you don't physically give them touch. And these monkeys started passing away. They started dying because they didn't have any kind of touch, especially from other monkeys, but not even from humans. So they tried to do this with kids too, and kids would get sick and it just wouldn't work out. I think we're in a world of marasmus, with the exception of whatever sexual contact we're having and all those different things. We're in a place right now. We're in a place. No, I will not. We're in a place right now where if social media really gets serious enough, we're not going to see people. We're only going to be able to talk to them through that. We actually need physical human touch, and that's going away. Now, of course, now we're finding relationships from Match.com and Plenty of Fish and all these online sites. So we don't even know how to conjure up, I guess is the right word, just a regular conversation with regular people out of thin air. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, now that is a detriment for us in the future. We may not live to see how that. And actually, we can kind of start seeing it with the how social our kids are with one another. All three of us have kids. Are your kids talking like we would talk?
Not at all. You have to urge mom, like, hey, won't you go over there and say, listen, we shared the experience. We had our daughters together, and our daughters, they're very similar, and I just sat back and watched them, and I made a comment to my daughter. I told them, I said, hey, you and her are a lot alike. You need to check out. I think y'all really hit it off. And they were pretty cool, but they both just kind of looking side like, okay, and they were like, say something, do something. People, they don't have that factor anymore as far as people don't know how to socialize. I saw interesting, now that we're on this subject, as a company, they're the first company, they actually have a robot as a manager. That's how bad people skills are getting. So you got people working there, but the robot is the boss. Like that's the it's been programmed. The robot is the actual manager, and the robot manages and things like that. And I was like, that just, that's what we headed to.
Well, I posted on Facebook years ago that I called up to a car dealership one time, and when I called, a woman picked up, and she had an attitude and hung up. So I called back. The same woman picked up, and I asked her to transfer me to some department. She transferred me to the wrong department. I called back a third time. She transferred me to a wrong department. The fourth time I called, it was a computer, the computer system. Press 1, press 2. So I pressed 1 and got what I needed, just like that. You can be replaced, and what they replace you with is better. It's more pleasing,
more efficient.
Exactly.
Doesn't cost anything, right?
No.
So, but yeah, I mean, back to my daughter, man. Her name's Brooklyn, and man, it's an arduous task. And I like to read people, right? Read your body language more than what you say. Her, I can't, bro. There's nothing out there that can like give me any inclination of what she's thinking, bro.
Yeah,
because she's so quiet, and
yeah,
that actually puts her in a position where she can master her environment. I love that portion of it, but I'd be like, yo, how was your day today? And she'd be like, good. What else? Like, what
Oh, that's it. That's all you get. Good.
I'm like, oh my gosh, yo. But that's why we got her into sports, man, to kind of help her with her leadership and her social side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's been working for her, man. So, but yeah, I know exactly what you guys are going through, man.
But you know what? That's one thing that shouldn't go out of style. You're talking about something that name one thing that we used to do. One thing that we continue to do is we still have our kids in sports. Sports to me, sports is like, I was watching something the other day and they were talking about how it's Charles Barkley, I believe, and he said he was going speaking at different schools. He go to a white school and he said, how many people want to be NBA or professional athletes? And he said 10% of them would raise their hand. He said go to a black school and he asked them, he said 90% of them would raise their hand. Personally, I don't have a problem with that. I aspire to be something. That's a great aspiration. If all our kids could be professional athletes and they're retired at 30, especially if we teach them how to run their money. The world is theirs after 30 years old and financially okay. But that's a whole different thing. What sports itself teach you is so important.
But to speak on that though, Ant, like, what if we were to put our kids into sports or get our kids into STEM programs and treat it as if they were sports, like sports league? Like, you know, like Florida and Texas, how they got all their kids since they're about 5 years old or 6 years old, they basically doing sports or football. What if we put them in engineering programs? What if we put them in mathematics programs? If we ran it like that and kind of had the minority, or even they could go play sports as well, but if we treated it like we, you know, do our sports, man, just imagine where we'd be. You know,
do you think we could treat it like we do sports? Because think about it, the environment, the community gets behind sports. So yeah, I might get motivated by mom and dad being there. But man, when I go to this football stadium, I'm on the field and I see 30,000 high school. I'm at a high school, 30,000 people are there. I won't get that from engineering.
So that means that we have to change our mindset. You know what I mean? It's a mind shift. You know what I mean? And I think it can be accomplished. You know, you may not at that point get the 30,000 people, but what about having 30,000 employees when you become 25? You know?
Yeah.
Having that base up under you, having that knowledge behind you. You know what I'm saying? If we start training them a little bit differently or thinking a little bit differently, it can mean the world. You know?
That's real. TD Jakes talked about that. He said actually he wanted to start he was talking like how you were saying, he was like, what about a medical all-star team, or a law all-star team, he was basically saying the same thing you said. What if we were able to do that? What if we were able to make that happen?
Well, I'm all for that. I mean, quite honestly, I think sports from the standpoint of team of a team environment, that's where sports are important. I think that we got to change the name of the game, and we got to go back to education. Education has lost its way, and I'm not talking about college and higher level education. I'm talking about standardized testing. I'm talking about high school, middle school, elementary. Because now what we're seeing is teachers just get students by because they have to do all this test and all these things, and so education has taken a back seat, to the
money. To the money.
Absolutely.
The test is the money.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that that's one thing we have to get back to. And unfortunately, we have to do that in our own households, because we have to figure out what it is that was important to our parents in life. What was it that's important to their parents in life and our life? Y'all know the saying, the more things change, the more things stay the same. So what we have to do is figure out, what was that? Somebody say something?
Right.
Oh, so what we have to do is we have to figure
on your talk.
Oh, am I freezing?
Yeah, you were freezing for a second.
Not on this end. Okay. Ain't no telling.
So I think that's it. We have to really understand our children, and we have to be able to educate our children on what's important in this life. And that's where it starts, because we're not going to get that out of the school.
It's crazy. We always talk about him, Dr. Claude Anderson. What you said goes all the way back to that building he was talking about building. And that's as simple as media. If we're going to change the mindset of entire people, we got to change what we're being fed mentally.
All right, so let's talk about that for a little bit. That's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. It's 8:00 p.m. Central Time for those of you who are joining us. Thank you so much. Be sure to continue to let us know how you feel about this.
Please share the page.
It's too late. I'm not going to let him come back next week, Ron. All right, so right now we're looking at a very interesting situation. We had Kanye West. We talked about him a couple weeks ago, and then we got this Kyrie Irving situation. For those of you who don't know, he's what looks like a former basketball player who posted on his Instagram something about anti-Semitic statements for the most part. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he said rather than me apologize for something I don't want to apologize for, I just retire. Is this correct?
I don't want to make too many statements because I haven't updated myself on the entire situation, but I just know it has something to do with him, the league, and something they consider to be anti-Semitic.
So let's go back. We're talking about today's environment. Now, in the 60s, 50s, maybe even a little bit of the 70s, I don't think so. 70s was certainly with women's liberation. Protests were at an all-time high during that time. When people saw something that they thought was wrong, they decided to take it to the streets or wherever, people's pockets, monies, whatever. I'm looking at Kanye and all the stuff that these guys are doing and going through, and they're stirring some stuff up. Now we're starting to find out who really runs stuff, if you didn't know before. Now we're starting to see, like your First Amendment, your freedom of speech is being tested. Should we take it back to the streets?
Yeah. We should take it back to the streets, and the reason I said we should take it back to the streets because I think that will get more people engaged, more people involved in the situation, and the more people we get involved, of course, that's going to be the more people, the more mindsets that we're changing. So
let's go to the comments real quick. Says most kids, maybe that's Missouri most kids want to be a rapper and get that fast money. Wow. That's a strong statement because that's all people. Fast money represents laziness. It doesn't represent riches. It doesn't represent wealth or wisdom or knowledge. It just represents laziness. I'm going to get as much money as I possibly can in the easiest or funnest, if that's a word, way that I can possibly get it. And we all want it in that way. We want to use our talents because that becomes a little simpler and a little more fun. But I don't know. I think fast money in this way is, hey, look, I just want to get, and then they want to get millions of dollars at that. They don't want to work their way up. I'm 19 with $1 million.
Yeah. Everybody wants the bag.
We see it. It's so normalized.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, I'm gonna go back to the question. I think I said it earlier. I don't know if we even answered it, but we did. Start normalizing what and why. Or do we have any more on that?
That was my favorite. The one I said, get back to whooping some tail and then get back to church with my second one. So that's definitely that.
All right, Ron. So me and you talk all the time. We'll throw this one out there, and of course, we always talk about business. There's not enough black businesses out there, and most black businesses are restaurants. So what's the fear behind starting a business? And I don't even know if it's got to be black related, just in general, probably black related. What's the fear behind starting a business?
I think you and I talked about it like 2 days ago. The reverse racism, right? Will people buy from me? Will my people buy from me? And also perceptionism. I think we had talked about looking at a clip on Jamie Foxx, and I've never heard that word before, perceptionism.
Explain that, because that was a very good clip.
Yeah. So Jamie Foxx was speaking to the point of how your people or how people perceive you to the point that it causes an obstacle of them dealing with you, and it's a form of prejudice, so to speak. And I get it all the time in my business. I help people with their retirement and finances, and they look at me, and the first thing they're not going to say is, "Oh, he's a qualified official to help me," because they're judging this. You feel me? So, so when we're talking about starting a business, it's the fear. It's the fear of, can I last to a point where I'm making some form of profit on anything that I do? Will my people accept me? Will my people do business with me? Will others accept me? I got to be honest. When I started doing my business, I had a name, Kemetic Solutions, Kemetic Financial Solutions, which speaks to Kemet in Africa. And I'm thinking in my mind, how would white people take that? You know, and so there are so many fears out there, but again, those fears are something or pictures that you create in your mind to prevent you from even moving forward. You know,
Yeah.
so I understand, totally understand, but we got to get out of that though. You know, we got to get out
Fear
of
of the
that.
unknown.
Yep.
I think, you know what? I think we don't understand it. Ace might a little bit more than the rest of us. And you might too. You might understand it more than I do, Ron. But America is way more segregated than what you realize.
Oh
So
yeah.
one of the fears of, and black people tend to say that crab in the barrel statement so much that the fear of business is if you're a black person and you start a business, your mindset says, I'm selling to black people. And with the crab in the barrel, I don't think that I could be successful because they're not going to buy from me.
And it's,
So-
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy too. That ideology is a self-fulfilling prophecy in itself.
But the reality is, you have a whole new audience. You know, Ace, I say it on this show all the time. This is my number one pet peeve for white people. I wish I had white people listening. So go ahead and let me know. My number one pet peeve for white people, and it's not necessarily the current white people. This is during integration. Once they started integration and they eliminated Plessy versus Ferguson, what happened was black people started going to white schools. We were able to start eating at white restaurants. We were able to start doing this as white people. And we could try on hats without putting stuff on our head because white people wasn't offended. And we were doing this for white and this for white and riding the white buses. But what didn't happen is white people didn't do those same things to us. They didn't integrate into us. So financially, we never got any strength. That's why we always say on this show that in 1865, 1% was the wealth that black people had. Black people had 1/2 of 1%. We still have that same amount today in 2022 because nobody is buying our own stuff, including us. Our money lasts 30 minutes or something in our own community.
Yeah,
So
I was gonna say about 30
I
minutes.
say all that to say that I think the fear or the unknown, how we started this off, is you can probably sell to white people and be okay. You will be better off because there's more of them anyways. They represent 50-60% of the country anyways. And I just don't understand why we don't think that. We
Well, the
always just
perception-
think about ourselves as customers.
The perceptionism thing, which I like that word, Ron. I'm a life insurance agent as well, and I learned that lesson real quick. Unfortunately, it's almost like nobody wants to do business with us. Our people don't do business with us. Other communities do business with themselves. You know, the Hispanic community does business with the Hispanic insurance man. You know, the African community, you know, and they even segregate African and Asian community. A Nigerian wants to do business with a Nigerian. A Kenyan wants to do business with Kenyan. You go into the Asian community, the Filipinos do business with the Filipinos. The Vietnamese do business with the Vietnamese. When it comes to the black community, we do business with everybody I just named except for us.
Exactly.
You know, now they'll take the knowledge, they'll listen, and you'll talk, you'll educate them, like, okay. And they'll let you walk out that door. And then they'll go seek what you taught them about from someone, and the only difference is the skin color. Like they want what you're educating them about, so they get the education from you, but they want the product. They just feel a little more comfortable if it came from Mr. Charlie or you know, something like that. It's strange. It's a strange psychological thing. I don't understand, but that's
All
definitely
right, so
the way it is in our industry.
We're talking today's environment, and I think I like the fact that you said that, Ace, because today's environment, we're talking November 2022. So let's go back 100 years, 101 perhaps. We're looking at all the different all the different Black Wall Streets and all the different riots, Tulsa race riot, Harlem riots. And we're looking at the riots in Sherman, Texas, Detroit, all these different places. We didn't have that at that time. A black man went to a black business and gave black man, our money stayed in our community for 7 days back then. So I would like to know what the psyche, what happened between, say, 1930 and today.
It's actually, it's wicked and it's bad on us, but it's actually in a evil way. It's beautifully designed. I think the best way to put it, like, Kanye West's verse when he said, they made us love their wealth and hate ourselves. It's like it's just like, you keep something from somebody for so long and you make it like, no, no, no. After a while, that person wants it and you still don't give it to them. And you still don't give it to them.
It's funny, man, because the Bible says, train up a child in the way that he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. And I think that works for more than just children. Train up a nigga in the way that he should go. Train up a community in the way that they should go. Train up a business, train up a child, train up anything in the way that they would go. And when they get old. So as a community, we're old. We're 165 years old past slavery as an independent community. And with all the brutality, all the stuff, and I hate to put it on anybody at this point because now it's a mentality that we need to break. It's within us at this point. That's my take.
And that's real. That's definitely real.
It's disheartening sometimes, but when you're in the business, you can't take anything personal. You just need to do your best and try to help your people as much as you can, or help people, period, as much as you can, and put them first, and I think everything will work its way out. But again, it's disheartening at times being in the business, and I got this for you. This will definitely work. I have it on myself. I've done it for some odd years, and it's brought me this amount of money. But they'll take my information and they'll go to this other person that has lighter skin, and they'll do business with them. And it's like, wait a minute, like, what are we missing here? And it's like, bro, I've never scammed anyone in my life. The only people that have lied to me is the people that I deal with day in and day out. But every time I'm in that environment, they kind of make you feel like you are the bad person. And that's the hard part about what we do in owning your own business. I have to feed my family too. And all I ask is for a chance, right? All I ask is for a chance for you to let me do what I do. I got one of my boys, man. I've been with my boy I've been lifting weights with him for a long time, right? Before you went.
Right.
He a doctor. He wasn't my client. And I kind of laid it out to him. I was like, dude, seriously, I need to be your advisor. And he says, well, yeah, Ron, let's just talk. And I kind of laid it out to him. And I showed how I can assist him. And now he's my client. He had about $500,000 in these banks, right? Not making any freaking money whatsoever. And I pushed it somewhere where he made money off the bat. Now, I don't have the answer to everything. All I ask is for an opportunity to help you. If I can't help you, good, Godspeed. But don't let this be that obstacle that's going to push you away from being successful. Go with this, go with that, So, but yeah, we off the subject. I don't know if we.
No, that's good. That's really good
we on subject, and you know what's crazy, Ron, is and anybody we talk to in the finance industry, insurance, and everything, we had that same story. I remember when I first started out with the agency, just debit insurance, knocking on the door, collecting premium and stuff. I actually had to scheme. I had to come up. I had at the time, my manager, shout out to Keith, the real nice guy. It was white, and I told him we're gonna have to play the skin game if we want to be successful. And he was against it. Keith's a great guy. He's like, I don't want anybody ever thinking I'm racist, anything like that. I said, Keith, you're not racist, but people not gonna listen to us unless we play the skin game. So I actually played. We played the race card. To get, he used to have to play the mean manager, and he's with me because I'm not, doing this or doing that, or a lot of times, I put him in charge, like I'm just following behind him. I have my notepad, like I'm taking notes and watching everything he say, and they looked at me like, oh, okay, that's just your boy, and you the man, so like that. Oh man, all day, we're doing that all day. But whenever it was presumed that I'm in charge and he rolling with me, it's just, well, thank you very much. Hey, have a nice day.
That always reminds me of that episode of Sanford and Son where Fred didn't want that black doctor because that black doctor went to a junior college. And so he had the white doctor, found out the white doctor went to the junior college and the black doctor was the most successful doctor in the state. But and that's it. And it's funny, and I say that jokingly, really, but so I was talking about starting a business with somebody, and Ronnie, it may have been you. I can't remember who it was. We were talking about doing all this stuff, and we were like, okay, but here's the deal: we can't let people know that black people own it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hire white folks, and they're gonna front it. Maybe even give 10% ownership to a white guy, and let him kind of be the face of the company and all this stuff. And it's an unfortunate thing, and I don't know if I do that because of black people or if I do that because of white people. So what is it that America looks at us and says, both on the black and white side? Anyway, moving right along, y'all. I know we're having a pretty good show. We got about 15 more minutes left. Anybody got any comments they want to say to us? Don't hesitate to go ahead and say them. Thank y'all for y'all's input. By the way, it says, I have my last question of the night. Really, it says, are we seeing? Now, I want to kind of talk about this gay thing because we're talking about today's environment. When I was a kid, contract. We talked about the Jews. So when I was a kid, when we were kids, we're all about the same age. You saw one gay dude. You might be a little different, Ron, because you were in the bigger city. But you saw one gay dude every once in a while, and the one dude, maybe even his boyfriend. And on television, there was probably 2 or 3. Now it's everywhere. Where are we leading? So my question I have is: are we seeing progress? What progress are we seeing in these gay movements, these gay rights? What is there anything good coming from this stuff?
I noticed that it's very influential right now because of social media and TV. You can't watch a commercial nowadays without seeing a white man and a black man being a couple. Yeah. That's what they're delivering to us. Now, I'm going to preface that by saying I don't have anything against any person that's gay. That is your sexual preference. That's what you do. That's what you do. Who am I to say that you're wrong, right? And actually, when I was growing up in New York, I had a friend. I didn't know he was gay, but I used to go over this dude's house every day. We used to watch Star Wars together, And I recently just heard that he passed away, but I didn't know he was gay. That wasn't our mindset. I know he was different, but I just loved him for him because he was a cool dude. We used to go to each other's house. But I say all that to say this: I've never changed that mindset to people that I run into. If that's the way you want to be that. You know what I mean? But it's just like when you start teaching my children how to be or how to maneuver sexually through commercials and stuff like that because they watch TV, that's what I kind of disagree with. I want them to learn on their own to do whatever they want to be whenever they can come in contact with that. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. You know what, though? But I'm torn between how I feel about it. Because biblically and spiritually speaking, I'm totally against it. But I think everything you're either for or against. There's nothing that you really say, I really don't care. You're either for something or you're against something. So I'm torn in how to think about this because I know that it's leading in some direction. I'm like you, Ron. I don't care what you do when you're in your home. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's not my business, right? So if you're sleeping with a person of the same sex, that makes you gay. That's the only thing that makes you gay. Wearing a dress, pressing around like a girl when you're a guy, that don't make you gay. It makes you weird, but don't make you gay, So by promoting who I'm sleeping with, sexually, that to me is just, I don't know where the world is going to. I think the devil is very crafty and he's pushing us in the wrong direction to where our acceptance today in today's environment is nowhere near like what it was when we were kids. This is something that would not be accepted, not because it was discriminatory towards those people necessarily, because it kind of kept things in. Because what's going to happen, like you say, we're seeing, there's a movie out right now. It's a gay movie. Have y'all seen the trailer? These white dudes, it's just a gay movie. It's about gay men sleep. And it's a big budget movie from what I can understand.
Is it like an orgy or something?
Well, let me tell you, let me preference it by saying this. I don't know enough about it.
Did you watch the trailer?
I saw I did. I saw half the trailer before I knew what I was watching. And so, but they're pushing it on our kids, like you said, Ron. That's the issue I have. So I have to unfortunately be against it. I'm not against the person. You know what I mean? I'm not against like I know plenty of people who are single and they fornicate. You know, I'm not against them. You know, I know I can tell you all kind of people who do all kind of different sins that I'm not for the sin, but I'm you know, I still love the person. So that gay thing I have an issue with. And in today's environment, which is today's topic, I think that it's being pushed. I think that our government is pushing it. I think that the people are accepting it, and I think that it's gonna lead to nothing positive, and that's a very unfortunate future that we're gonna see.
Yeah, I think it's all linked to I mean with the movement of it, population control. I think that's a big issue with it for the population control. You know, because it's being pushed so heavily, like it's almost like a dire need for it. You know, like you know, it's kind of like it's somebody rooting behind, like we must. You know, we like you know every given opportunity, they never miss the mark. It's there. You know, and it's there, and it's being, you know, it's in everything now. The cartoons now, you know, now you got certain cartoons that identify, you know, as gay. So like, you know, Velma from Scooby Doo just, you know, they just announced it. She's a lesbian. Yeah, you know, and you know, just certain cartoon characters, oh, such and such.
I probably knew that when I was a kid, though. I mean, let's be real.
Man, for some reason, I always
feeling about Velma.
I always imagine Fred in the back of that van when Shaggy took Scooby on the walk. For some reason, I just always imagine, hey, let's go to the back, girls, and have some fun while Scooby's taking a walk.
Hilarious.
I just always, but you know, hey, you know.
I don't know, bro. It's just like I don't know. Like even with comics nowadays, they're talking about sexuality. It's like, why are we doing that? You know, why are we? And somebody could probably explain to me because maybe I'm ignorant, but I don't want to know that the new Superman or the son of Superman is gay. Like, why did that matter? It didn't matter to me before. Why does it matter?
Yeah.
Why does it matter now? You know what I mean? But
so I think that, you know, Ron, I think it. So Kanye and Kyrie, where we started off,
okay,
they're dealing with these issues, right? They're dealing with saying anti-Semitic stuff, and the Jews are really coming down on them because, like I said earlier, we now know who runs everything because of how the power. And I also wonder what power, the powers that be, are they gay? The powers that be, what agenda are they trying to push because that's who they are?
They have,
you know what I mean? Like certain people are being accepted, and certain people have certain kind of powers. And what is it? And at the end of the day, it's the devil. To be honest with you, the devil has an agenda. The devil is very crafty. The devil knows God better than we do because he lived with him. You know, he was in heaven, so he knows who to go to, and the world itself is the devil's playground. With all that being said, I think that, I mean, all these things kind of work together. You know, they work together, and so don't say anything wrong. Kanye is speaking hard against the anti-Semitic. At least that's what they make him look like. He hadn't said anything about these gay people. I wonder what kind of power they would have to push him out.
Have you heard, like, or did you watch Drink Champs at all when he was talking about being anti-Semitic? He said, I'm about to say some anti-Semitic things, and don't take me word for word. I don't remember it like that, but he was basically saying BITCH, kill that NIGGA, BITCH, kill that. So he's prefacing, he's just saying that what he's saying is anti-Semitic because the black people are the original people and they are Semitic. But he's telling you that's what it is. But again, we're going back to when Colin Kaepernick did what he did. They changed the entire narrative and they stuck to that story. And that's a lot of white fear. White fear is out there. You know what I mean? And they keep this narrative in their mind to keep that aggression towards something that doesn't even exist. And then now the media catches a hold of it. And when they catch a hold of it, it amplifies 100 times. And that's not the true essence of what it is. So you'll see a video, you'll hear something and you'll totally take it out of context, especially our black people, and since they don't know, right? And they'll go off of that and be like, man, I don't like Kanye and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't like Kanye, some of what Kanye does either, but he's telling you the truth. He's giving you the truth of the essence of us. And now you're not even on his side because you don't understand that, because he's opening his mouth. And it's just harsh, man. But again, he's telling you the truth about black people.
I think we have to go through the fire, and Kanye is the one who's going to have to do it. If you don't have anything to lose, then you don't have an audience to speak to. But if you have something to lose, you can actually make a change. And it's funny because, they can't do things. And I say they, meaning the government, white people, black people, whomever, right? They can't do things the way they did things in 1920. So when we had Black Wall Street all over the country, and then they came and did the Tulsa riots and the Sherman riots and so forth and so on, they were able to come, burn down the neighborhoods, and do this, that, and other, blah, blah, blah. Can't do that in 2021, not in 22, not the way that they did it then. So how do they do it in 2022? Well, Colin Kaepernick is gonna kneel. We'll burn him down. Kanye West, he's gonna say something that's true. We'll burn him down. You know what I'm saying? We won't allow them to start that. And what's funny? It's the black skin. It's like we're gonna control everybody because every other race of people have their own land, their own place. Except for Black Americans, we don't. We have this place and not want it here. But everybody else can go and thrive wherever they want to be in whatever land that they're from, for the most part. And when they come over here, they can gain about 10% of the national wealth, and they'll be okay. Or you don't try to get that 11%, you will be okay. But that black skin, we really want you to stay at that 0.5%. And that is the purpose of today's environment. Like, what are we doing that's different than what we used to do to get to a place from where we used to be?
And it's mindset, bro. Not to cut you off, man, but it's really mindset. The Klansmen no longer wear those hoods. They're your lawyers, they're your politicians, they're your lobbyists. You know what I mean? So they understand the audience that they're dealing with. And when are we going to start to understand it? You know what I mean? They don't come and basically burn down your town anymore. They put a whole bunch of liquor stores on your corners. They put sodas, chicken places. This is how they're killing you off. This is how they're purging you. They don't have to touch you anymore.
Well, they basically, they went from lynching us to giving us enough rope to hang ourselves.
There you go.
And unfortunately, we take all the rope they give us and we do it every time.
Absolutely. Man, we've had a pretty good conversation. I enjoyed this. Ron, I know you want to come back in a couple of weeks and we're going to talk some health and fitness, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, man. Most definitely, man. I think my people, man, we need it, man. For real. I'm not sure healthy. I need to get back. I need to get back to where I was, man. 5'8" and great. You know what I'm saying?
I'm 5'7.5" and I don't know that. My calves. I don't know. I'll do the best I can. I'm not a rep. Hey, look, thank you for everybody that's been on the show. Hey, in a couple of weeks, we're going to talk about health and fitness, what we eat, what we put in our bodies, and how we work out and all those things. So it's going to be a great conversation. We'll really promote that. That'll be good. Next week. Let me start over. Hey, I wasn't ready. I don't have the clip. Who do we have on the show next week?
Oh, I went out really hit it hard in the streets. So next week we're actually gonna have KKK members that are fans of Rebranders that send us friend requests on Facebook. We're gonna be talking with them about why they follow us and why they love this show so much. They say they learn a lot about themselves.
What's the name of that show?
Crackers who support us.